boy haven't married When buy house or? So, have you heard about this in your Chinese New Year gathering? Or bumped into any aunties that threw you this question, a big bomb, and got you scratching your head for days and nights?
Yep, buying a home could be a milestone, especially for first home buyers. So whether it is for buying or renting, it could be very subjective. It is really depending on your circumstances and personal preference.
Yet, some people felt like renting a property is helping owners to pay off their property, which also means throwing your money into the sea.
Oh my god. So, should you buy or rent your property? Or should you actually do both? What's up everybody, welcome to VC. My name is Vincent.
And I'm Chloe.
So buying a property for your own stay or should you rent it? So this is a very difficult decision for many of the millennials nowadays. So today we will discuss whether you should rent or buy a property for your own stay. We will breaking down the pros and cons to you and see which one would suit you better at the given time.
Now, the first question that you need to ask yourself is, what's your financial position? Buying a property could cost a fortune. There are 10% down payment, additional fees, maintenance fees, property taxes, renovation costs, and many more.
Wow, that's a lot. Yet, renting a property also required a certain amount of upfront costs such as 2 months deposit, 1 month advance rental, half months of utility deposit, and stamping fee for the tenancy agreement.
Whichever option you are considering, both of them require a substantial financial commitment. So before you make that decision, you should do the necessary calculation and plan beforehand, else you'll be ending up with decades of debt.
Yep. Secondly, you may calculate the price to rent ratio to justify whether it is worth it for you or not. So the price to rent ratio is taking up the average cost of the listed property divided by the annual property rental sum.
For example, simply take a condominium unit in Kuala Lumpur in a decent area worth 500,000. The rental in the condominium will be expected 3,000 per month, which is 36,000 annually. Thus, the calculation will be 500,000 divided by 36,000 equals to 13.88 years.
Yep, in short, if you intend to stay on the property more than 14 years, buying the property will be a better choice than renting it. In some of the metropolises, the property price is sky high. For example, an apartment unit at a mega metropolis is worth 5 million, while the rental is around like 8,000 ringgit, which get you around like 96,000 a year. So the price to rent ratio will be 52.08. It is going to take you 52 years to live to justify whether it's worth it or not to live. Yeah, so it makes more sense for you to rent it than buying it. Unless you're buying it and living in there for the rest of your life, or maybe pass it down to your children.
Yep. So for the third question is, how long are you intended to stay? Are you looking for a temporary accommodation because you're moving into that particular area for work, or will you be settling in that area for the rest of your life? It's definitely not worth it to buy a property for your own stay if you're only staying for a short 2 years.
Yep, don't forget that buying a property requires a high upfront cost such as down payment, various of additional fees, even including those recurring fees like property taxes, maintenance, and etc.
Yep. And the last question is, what are your needs and preferences? Do you need to live in a hotspot that is connected to public transportation, or maybe close to a school for your future kids, or maybe you always wanted to renovate the house according to your taste and have the flexibility to do so?
Yep, if you have a specific needs and preferences in your mind, maybe buying your own home and having the full ownership will be a better choice. So after answering all of the questions for yourself, now we are diving even deeper into the question, should you buy or rent?
Actually, you can't compare a rent to a mortgage payment. Comparing a mortgage payment to rent is not an apple-to-apple comparison. In order to properly assess the rent versus buy decision, we need to compare the total unrecoverable cost of renting to total unrecoverable cost of owning.
So what is an unrecoverable cost, you may ask? So an unrecoverable cost is an expense that retains no residual value. This means that the money you pay is you're never gonna see it again. Literally no value at all. It's like flushing into the toilet bowl.
Yep. So what are the unrecoverable costs of renting a property? The rent payment that you are paying monthly is the unrecoverable cost. This is why most people assume that renting is throwing money away, but homeowners have unrecoverable costs too. It is just a little bit less obvious, but it is definitely there.
So what exactly is an unrecoverable cost for homeowners? We have separated into 3 sections for you. So there are property taxes, maintenance costs, and also the cost of the capital. So owning a property requires you to pay the annual property taxes such as assessment rate, quit rent, or maybe parcel rent. These costs are completely unrecoverable, yet you are required to pay annually.
Secondly, that would be maintenance costs. This is a broad category that covers a wide range of unrecoverable costs. This will be included in the fixing of the roof because of the leaking issues, termite issues that may jeopardize the structure of the building, and many more.
Yep, maintenance costs can be very expensive as well if you don't fix it right away. So make sure they are fixed before it compromises your bank account.
Yep.
So the third piece will be the cost of capital. Another word of saying is the opportunity cost. Purchasing a property will require you to pay high upfront costs up to like 18% straight cash down payment.
If you have 100,000 in hand and you would like to purchase a 500,000 property, that will cost you around 90,000 straight cash down payment. Although these upfront payments are compulsory, technically it's partially included in the value of the property as you are paying partially principal on your mortgage loan. Yet you will lose the opportunity of using that capital to generate more income in other investments. This will be an or situation. Either you're taking a plan A or plan B.
Let's say on a usual Saturday night, you are deciding to get your dinner. So either you get yourself a takeaway from Foodpanda or Grab Food to save time, or you can actually go to YouTube and learn how to make a fancy dish with Gordon Ramsay that you need to prepare multiple ingredients, cooking the food and washing the dishes as well.
If you choose to take away with Foodpanda or Grab Food, you gain convenience and time. If you choose to cook yourself with Gordon Ramsay, you get to save money and get a new cooking experience. It's just one way or another. So each decision will have costs associated with it by choosing the other choice.
Yep, in terms of buying or renting, either you are owning the property for good but dealing with all of the high upfront costs, or you can use the down payment money that you have to invest in elsewhere to generate you more income.
So by understanding the unrecoverable costs, now you are clear to understand what's the actual cost of choosing one or another, and even narrow down what you really need and want.
This is a very subjective approach, so it's all depending on what's your financial position, what do you value the most, how long will you take to staying in that property, or is it worth it to buy or rent will be a cheaper choice according to the price to rent ratio.
So what's the benefit of owning a property for your own stay? Owning a home will provide you with the ownership that you are looking for, having no issues with encountering a bad landlord that is trying to raise your rental fees annually, restricting you to renovate your space. Have a peace of mind that call the place your home.
Yep, generally property price increases on an average of 5% per annum. This will provide you with a great, well-preserved investment as the value of the money is devaluing 3 to 4% annually with the inflation that's going around. So 100 ringgit back in 30 years ago could actually get you a full cart of groceries. Yet you are only able to afford a basket with only 100 note. Actually,
not even a plastic.
Yeah,
not even a basket, it's just a plastic. So other than that, owning a property can be a great way to save money. For people who don't have the habit of saving money, owning a property could be a great way for you to do for saving. So after a couple of years of ownership, you may strategically refinance your property if you would like to cash out your property. So we have mentioned about refinancing in our previous video for your property. You may click up here to see more later. So what about the benefits of renting a property?
Yep, renting a property can save you for spending up to 18% of the upfront cost, no property taxes, no maintenance fee, no fixing the faulty washing machine or fridge, paying the management fee, and etc. Also, you have the privilege of having different environment to live in, and also having the first-hand opportunity to enjoy newly completed development with fancy facilities. Oh, rooftop bar.
So shocked Every year macam moving house 这样. But most importantly, you're not financially tied up with a mortgage loan for decades. After discussing all of the pros and cons of buying and renting, is it possible to even do both?
Yep, actually, it's not necessary that you need to live in a property that you own. You can actually rent a place, yet renting out your property that you generate your positive cash flow. We actually came across some investor that owning multiple properties, yet still renting a place. The idea is owning multiple properties that will generate positive cash flow every single month and paying off the expenses that they have, such as rental, car loan, even traveling around the world with all of the positive cash flow could support the lifestyle that they are actually looking for.
With all being said, there is no rush to actually buy a home, but it is definitely a rush in investing in real estate market. A semi-detached that cost 200,000 back in the days, now it's worth 1.5 million after 20 years. Real estate in Malaysia is actually performing really well, yet still subjective to different areas that you're looking for. The best time to invest in real estate is always 10 years ago, and the second best time to buy property is now, whenever you're watching this.
So here comes the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you gained some new knowledge from this video, do give us a like and consider subscribing as we post a lot of property related content in this channel. Join the VC family, and also Happy Chinese New Year to all of our fellow Chinese friends and family, and we will see you in the next video. Ciao!